is to highlight a project that we're currently implementing in the Lighthouse Reef Atoll that targets stony coral tissue loss disease through funding that was obtained from the Mesoamerican Reef Fund that is currently being managed by the Protected Areas Conservation Trust. Essentially, what we're doing is tracking and monitoring the disease spread through the atoll and continuing to determine prevalence and try to treat some of the corals that are affected by the disease. So there are a bunch of components that tie into this project that involves not only the monitoring and the treatment of coral, but it also looks at community outreach to spread the word, to create awareness on this lethal disease and the effects that it will have to stakeholders of the atoll, the tourism community, the fishing community, and their families, of course, because it has a tree. What we want to talk about today is the project that the Belize Audubon Society is doing in partnership with MARFON. We've received a grant from MARFON that is managed through the Protected Areas Conservation Trust, and what we're trying to do, one of the major objectives under the project, is to address the onset of stony coral tissue loss disease that has been seen in the Lighthouse Reef Atoll. Dating back to September 2019, we first detected stony coral tissue loss disease way up north on the eastern side of the atoll. We have seen a slow progression to the remainder of the atoll over time. So we decided it was necessary to intervene and try to do something to combat this very lethal disease.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Terence. They call me Rue. I'm a boat captain and tour guide for Island Expedition. I've been working at Lighthouse Reef for about 10 years now. And my job pretty much is to take out the tours out to the different locations. One of the things that I like about Lighthouse Reef is that they have several sites where we could walk off from. And here we have about 4 different sites. We have the octopus garden, the coral garden, lighthouse, and we also have Mitch Bay. Over the 10 years that I've been working out at Lighthouse Reef, I've gladly and excitingly shared our beauty when it comes to the corals and the marine life in Lighthouse Reef, Half Moon Caye. I've noticed the disease that came through, the stony coral tissue loss disease. What I saw, especially just prior to COVID in 2019, there were some signs of algae taking over a lot of the corals. When we had the lockdown and our company reopened, this is Island Expedition, as I mentioned, and I was really excited and eager to revisit the sites over almost 2 years that I haven't been to. And when I came back, I noticed that a lot of the corals died out. The brain coral, the star corals, and most importantly, the pillar corals, which actually is my favorite to look at. And when I do my tours and I talk to my guests, when I got here, I noticed that a lot of the corals died out. I learned later on from the marine biologists attached to the Audubon Society, Stony and Rinaldo. I learned that they were informing me actually that the reason for this was because of the new disease, stony coral tissue loss, which came from the U.S. It is a very sad story, a sad situation. I understand how important the life of the coral is to not only the ecosystem but also to Belizeans in a whole. I always tell my guests that to see the marine life and interact with the different creatures that we have in our ecosystem I also encourage them to practice, you know, some healthy etiquettes, snorkeling etiquettes. I teach them how to, you know, be aware of their body position around the coral, not to touch the corals, and so on. But in general, this is my experience with the stony coral tissue loss disease.
So what I use, my normal mixture, is 400 grams of this, along with 5 of this antibiotic, right? So then I'll just add in 400 grams of Aquarix, or 400. And then I add the antibiotic one by one, right? So that they mix well. You don't want to add everything and then you hard up mix them.
Why do you use powdered amoxicillin versus the regular antibiotic or the capsules? Is it the same amoxicillin that people use?
It's actually the same, but this is the one that the capsule. I don't think you could use that because you need to mash down those things. Alright, so whenever in the water, and then I find a coral looking like this, or with this stony coral disease, that's when I decide to treat it, because there's this there's more live than dead. So in the water, what I normally do, I would just squeeze this treatment that is in the syringe and then just run it right here. I ensure that goes in the groove right along the edge right here, and then run it all the way down until